Welcome to the Wildness of the Wednesdays with Random Witchcraft with your host, Vix.
And Callie, word up, people.
Today we're going to do something a little different and give us a little bit of time of suggestions of some wonderful books that we think could benefit you.
You just straight up tried to sound like a goddamn professor.
That's okay.
I'm just saying, we just giving you a little bit of, book recommendations. Some of them will probably get into a little bit of a synopsis. Not much, but interesting stuff that will help you. And, books that we wish people would have recommended early on stages of our journey. Just saying. And Vix is so concentrated. Super concentrated.
I'm not a professional hair product. I'm not super concentrated.
Are you sure?
That's because I'm doing things and moving things and...
Something that could have been handled beforehand, right?
Yeah.
Derp.
I'm just moving things around.
Yeah, and instead you're just leaving some dead air.
I could fix that.
Uh-huh, yeah.
So to start off, here's a couple books that I would definitely recommend. They're more of reference books, things you can look through and get some ideas of doing some spells and things. Like the Buckland's Complete Book of Witchcraft.
Big Blue.
The Big Blue. It is very Wicca-based, so
It gives a good starting point on understanding how some things work.
Especially ceremonial magic. Then you
can't just go willy-nilly sacrificing everything?
Well, you could. You might get arrested, but you could.
You only get arrested if you get caught.
Speaking of things that might get you arrested, there are some spells in this next book that might actually get you arrested. Yeah, there's a few chapters in this book that is
that
couple
contain
red flags.
poppy.
No. Well, yeah, there probably is stuff that has poppies in it, but it's the Encyclopedia of 5,000 Spells.
Mm-hmm.
By Judika Iles, which I may be saying wrong. Like I said, there are a couple of chapters in there that could be some red flags for a lot of people, but there are some really good spells in there and could be very useful.
What Vix is hinting at is a previous freaking episode that we did, which is on love spells and stuff like that.
Oh no, the book has actual curses. And curses to actually harm people. Not recommending you do some of them. And there's also use of animals and plants that could be very dangerous. Now another good reference book would be Llewellyn's Complete Book of Correspondences. Which, great reference book, especially when you're building a spell from the ground up.
Or you like to just be annoying like Vix and then just go off on, you ask him for one thing and then goes off on a trail of 50 billion correspondence.
Yeah, that.
I'm just saying, sometimes I kind of just get frustrated with Vix and hey Vix, find me something that I can replace sandalwood with. And then goes off in a tangent of freaking stuff.
Hey, it's a very useful book.
Yes. But when I ask you for one thing, you give me 20.
True. Now the next one, it is kind of a niche thing that some people may want to try, some people may not. It is a good start off point if you do want to attempt some of this work. It's the Buckland's Book of Spirit Communications. By Ray Buckland, of course. Which, there's a couple other books like Protection and Reversal Magic by Jason Miller. It helps protect yourself, especially with people.
When starting off.
People and spirits alike. And
No, I didn't have that luxury when it came to spirits.
And Consorting with Spirits, also by Jason Miller. It's a little bit more in-depth with working with spirits. Then you have The Complete Book of Incense, Oils, and Brews by Scott Cunningham. And the Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. And then you have Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Crystal, Gem, and Metal Magic. All by Scott Cunningham. If you didn't realize that.
I wouldn't have guessed. How many times did you say Cunningham? If somebody can, make that count, and email us that count, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Same with Buckland. Ray Buckland's books. There's a couple on here. Then you have Seal, Sigil, and Call by J.R. Mascaro. And The Big Book of Candle Magic by Jackie Smith. Then you have Financial Sorcery by Jason Miller, which gives a lot of good knowledge on doing magic surrounding money. Yeah.
There's a lot of things Vix isn't really into a lot of reference books.
Yeah. I like to read and I like to learn a lot of things. Like the Silva mind control method.
Which, the first time that I read the book, I was doing all the little things when it tells you not to do them.
Yeah, it specifically says at the beginning of the book to read the whole book, then go back and actually do the exercises. Miss Callie didn't do that. She missed that point.
I may have just taken it as a suggestion, cause,
Didn't you actually, skip through the book instead of doing everything in order? Maybe a little?
No, actually. I read the book, all of it, was just doing the frickin' little assignments at the end of each chapter that you were supposed to wait until afterwards, then reread the book and do the assignments along with it. I went the, AP route way of going, no, we ain't doing this bullshit. We're not reading this book twice.
Now, my next book that I definitely suggesting, because I love her podcast. She's an amazing, amazing woman and amazing witch and practitioner. You have Love and Light, Blood and Bone by Eli Rowe, which she has the Middle-Aged Witch podcast.
Shout out to Eli. We love ya.
Not sponsored.
Yeah, not sponsored. Not wanting,
Just love her work.
Love the work. Love the way that she just interacts with people.
And the last three that I have are all about Hecate.
course.
You have Hecate, Goddess of Witches by Courtney Weber.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping Her Keys and Entering Hecate's Garden, both by Cindy Brannon. Which are good start-off points into if you want to become a devotee and actually learn more about Hecate.
Or you can just be like me when it comes to Hecate. Hecate will just come and, freaking hitting you with a horse.
Sounds about right.
What? She knows I'm stubborn.
Now, which books would you like to suggest?
You're freaking hilarious, I swear. Starting off with mine, I would say I would go with the Celtic and Norse Magic by DJ Conway. Very, very, really good research on it. Actually, the Celtic Magic was a third book I ever got. And then that grew legs and walked away from me. Until you got it from me again. Let's see. The other one I would recommend is the Santeria Religion by, oh my goodness, Magine Gonzalez Welper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a mouthful and a half. I really love this book because it gave you history. It also entwined the fact that hoodoo and voodoo are closely related with Santeria.
The Afro-Caribbean,
yeah, but
American.
the Oasis,
Well, that does make a lot of sense with it being entwined because of the slave trade.
Yep. We went there. Of course we did. I wasn't trying to go there.
It caused a melting pot of different practices to be melded together and them working together because that's what people do as they grow and learn.
Touché. But the fact of that a lot of their rituals and, practices on certain things coincide with it being folk magic. Something that, because back in the day, a lot of the temples wouldn't allow anybody that was not well taken care of. So they would end up going to what their ancestors taught them. They still had a strong respect for the religion that they were exposed to. But it goes and coincide with the fact that you have a lot of Mexican brujas and brujos that are still very strong Catholics, but yet practice brujeria. It's just, it goes hand in hand. Like, 3 of my books that I would highly recommend that go with it being, hand in hand with also, being... 2 of the artists were actually raised as Catholic. I was raised Catholic. I was, baptized, confirmed, and, did the first communion and all. Thank God I never got married in the church, because then I'd still be married to that person. I'm just saying. But One is American Brujeria by J. Allen Cross. He did his research. Not only because he was living it himself, but he went to others and asked questions. The other one is Mexican Sorcery Practical Guide to Brujeria del Rancho by Laura Davila. The fact that some of the sayings that she's put in her book, I've heard all my life. God, the goddess have my mother in their divine wisdom. She used to yell at me with some of these sayings that are in this book. Like the one of, no es mula, la hicieron así, which is basically, she's not stubborn, they made her like this. Or still gets used to this day against me from my aunt, is calladita te ves más bonita, meaning you'd look prettier if you stayed quiet.
It's a good saying. Very cunty, but a good saying. Right?
And the other one is Santa Muerte, the history, rituals, and magic of Our Lady of Holy Death by, oh my goodness, Vision Help.
Tracy Rowland.
Thank you. The fact that they did get into, in this book, which I don't want to give away too much because it is something that we're going to be discussing soon, but very, very good research on there. I actually thank my friend who ended up telling me, like, you need this. Like, I know that you know a lot about Santa Muerte, but you kind of need to, get this book. And I got the book. And it opened a floodgate of information. Stuff that I didn't even know. And hence the reason why that episode has not come out yet.
Yeah, lots and lots of information that, well, probably have about a 6-hour long episode.
Yeah, that I'm still trying to cut down to like 30 minutes.
Always fun.
Oh, yeah. The other one I would recommend is Moon Magic by Aurora Rain. Really good find. We found this one in Barnes & Noble.
Yes.
I like that it gave you some very simple full moon spells and new moon spells in here that didn't require much.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of those types of books that we find at like Barnes and Noble and like the little bargain bin type stuff. They're actually decent books, but they tend to be very simple and more.
But it's a good book to start off with somebody who's just dipping their toes in.
Yeah, they are good start-off books.
Like, another one that we did get at Barnes & Noble was the In Focus Divination one by Stephen Bright.
That one is actually a very interesting book because it pretty much gives you a lot of explanation on different types of divination.
Yes, and it's also made me want to create my own witch's room.
Yeah, witch's runes. Our fun-loving tarot card that I pulled this morning.
Yeah, no, there's no way I'm going to sculpt a witch hanging upside down on a,
No, it's just
inch
it's in
little
the
tile.
Oracle of the Witch.
Yes, but I can see you asking me to do this on a 1-inch little tile.
Oh, yes. you being as blind as you are trying to do that is not going to happen.
As blind as I am, I shouldn't be drawing, and I am drawing.
Yeah. I won't ask you to do that. That'd be a lot.
Like, how many times have I ended up doing stuff that I'm not supposed to because of my vision?
Yeah, this next book. It's definitely a favorite on both of ours.
Oh, yes. The Goddesses in the Shadow by Alicia Rye.
That one gives you a lot of insight on different darker goddesses.
Well,
from around the world.
You have the first one is Sedna, the Morgan, Hecate, Lilith,
Oya,
Kali, Baba Yaga, Persephone,
Hathor,
and Pele.
It's Pele. Pele is definitely an interesting goddess too.
Yeah, I just don't want to piss her off by, going and, getting something off her shores.
The wrath of a Hawaiian goddess. Them fires run deep.
Mahalo. The other one is The Mexican Witch Lifestyle by Valeria Grulas.
Or, in white people, Valeria Ruelas.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that too Mexican-y for you right there?
Maybe a little bit. I had to go a little southern.
Choke on it.
Probably will.
Mm-hmm. This one gave me a little bit of giggles when they ended up hitting the topic of Santa Muerte, because they view Santa Muerte as an LGBTQ god, or they, them.
Yeah, I could see that. Deity for the ones on the margins.
Yeah. And,
You actually brought up a good point. There is one other book that...
The one that I recommended you before we even started this?
Which one?
The Queer...
Yes, Queering Your Craft. I will have the author's name in the description below. I forgot to pull that one out and put it...
I told you.
Well, there's also other books that, like, if you want to delve into more voodoo practices, there's Witch Queens, Voodoo Spirits, and Hoodoo Saints by Bernice Alvarado, and Orisha's Goddesses and Voodoo Queens by Lilith Dorsey.
Mm-hmm. My very last one is The House Witch by Erin Murphy Hiscock.
Not to be confused with the House Elf. That was Harry Potter. And also has lines to true mythology. And actually, there is actually a type of fae that does like to get clothing.
Mm-hmm.
But we will delve in that at a later date.
This one kind of ended up getting me more deeper into the fact of I didn't know that I was a big kitchen witch until I read this book.
Yeah, I've known that I've had a side of kitchen witch in me for a very long time. Ever since WITCHCRAFT by Silva Ravenwolf. Yeah. Amazing recipes in that book. Too bad it's really, really hard to find, and when you do find it, it's like hundreds of dollars, because it's been out of print for a very long time.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, Llewellyn Publications. Re-release that book.
This book helped me to figure out that not only was I a kitchen witch, but my mother and my aunt drilled it into me on how to make stuff without having to write it down. Hence, comes with, Mexican, oh, you add a pinch of this. Well, what do you mean a pinch? No, you just grab it, you put it into your palm, whatever feels good to you, you throw it in there.
Interesting.
Hence the reason why when we made the episode that I ended up giving the recipe for the Nets of Love, I had to imagine me doing the recipe in order to get the exact recipe. And very last one that I borrowed from Vix to write a silver broomstick by Silver Ravenwolf. I actually finished reading this one because I thought I finished, but no. I had a marker here and I was reading it at Vix's house. I love that they get into how to make your own small correspondence, your own little ledgers on your rituals, the spell work, when fruition should end on the spell that you worked on. Touches a little bit of everything different, craft-based, but gives you a general skeleton to work your altar area. I can't wait to dive into 2 and 3 of her books.
You mean like to stir a magic cauldron and to light a sacred flame?
Yes.
What about Solitary Witch?
You knew I was going to end up borrowing for that, or borrowing it, aka maybe thieving it forever.
Yeah, that won't happen.
Yeah, that's what I said about my Night World books.
You just haven't got them.
You pulled them out of my bag one time.
And I digress.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that might be all we have for today.
Yeah, we kind of just, not only gave them, $30? Plus?
Yeah, yeah.
I think we kind of overwhelmed them with information. Sorry about that. That's all Vix's fault.
Well, till next time.
Au revoir, lovelies.
Bye. Hey, just one last thing before we sign off for the day. If you would like to reach out to us, you can email us at randomwitchcraft@gmail.com. And now you can send us voice messages through Anchor. If you would like to support this podcast for future podcasts and also other future endeavors, click the links below. That is completely optional and greatly appreciated. Thank you.